January, 6 months ago, I wrote on how I would balance the budget, hold the line on taxes, and deliver that constitutionally mandated balanced budget in that legislative session. The first thing I would do is I would put every dime online in real time. It's transparency. I view the primary role of the Illinois Republican Party is to defend the taxpayer because the Democrats just won't do it. But I submit to you, friend, that we'll never have tax cuts or even hold the line on spending, hold the line on taxes unless we have spending cuts. And we'll never have spending cuts until we can see where the money's being spent, 100% financial transparency. So Mayor Daley, Todd Stroger, Governor Quinn, they'll tell you there's no place to cut. We need to have that transparency so we can see the wasteful spending, convince our neighbor of the wasteful spending and our elected official, and cut that wasteful spending, and this will allow us to hold the line on taxes. Let me give you an example. The University of Illinois at Chicago professor did the study of state spending, and he said 5%, and you and I might think it's even more than 5%, but he determined 5%, according to this university study, is just out-and-out wasteful spending. That nearly, for fiscal year 2009, would balance the budget. This is another area to look. Contracts and procurement. It's a $7 billion piece of the Illinois budget. If you open up that process and create online competition, so you reduce the cost of government, if you open up these contracts, and if we only save 10% on these contracts through competition, that's another $700 million. Another place that I think has been properly identified by the Republicans in the Senate caucus is to privatize the Medicaid and Medicare delivery system. And they said that could save $2 to $3 billion on the budget. And if you start adding up these numbers, the other thing I would do with the transparency is I would send teams of forensic accountants to hone that budget. It was tried in Kansas, and the small state of Kansas saved $1 billion. And obviously Illinois has the reputation of being a lot more wasteful than Kansas, and it's a lot bigger state than Kansas. So if you start adding up these numbers, pretty soon we're into a situation that if Governor Quinn would have taken my advice in January, he could have issued tax rebates.
What are your thoughts about moving ahead on the, let's say you start with a zero-sum budget. I mean, that's even provocative, I guess, hard to believe, but it is. How would you start, putting those pieces back together?
The first thing is every dime online in real time, and I can do a lot of that by executive order as governor. The second thing that I would do is to send those teams of forensic accountants to carve out the waste, the fraud, the corruption, and the abuse in spending. And we could probably save about $3 billion by doing that without affecting any of the services for people in need, just to trim out the waste. So that needs to be done immediately. The third thing that I would do is I would make sure that every single elected official here in Illinois is not beholden, is not corrupt. And I would go about that using the ethics policy of Bobby Jindal out of Louisiana, who spearheaded the legislation, and I would do the same thing through the General Assembly to post the personal sources of income. That every single elected official would have to post their federal 1040 and their state income tax return with all their schedules. And I'm leading on this. In the next couple days, Fran, you'll be able to look at my website, and you'll be able to go through my federal income tax return, see exactly where my personal sources of income come from, give that scrutiny, and I think every single elected official here in Illinois should be required to do it. In Louisiana, you had mass resignations from all levels of government because of the problems. With Illinois' reputation, with the financial crisis that we're in, this is a critical piece of my policy.
That kind of